Anywhere in the world, the beach, otherwise called the Atlantic Ocean, happens to be the best place for relaxation. But here in Africa, several years back, we never had it that way. It was the point at which our forefathers witnessed excruciating pain. We couldn't dare come into the beach with our loved ones, talk less our pets. Neither could we have Instagram shots along the coastline. It's never a place that our children could ride a bicycle then, nor was it a place where lovers can hang out for quietness. Terrifying sounds are what you hear all around here as the breeze blows with the cries of men and women in the thunderous boats that were brought to empty Africa.
So what you are seeing behind me is what we call the slave port of Badagry. Do you just realize what happened now? I entered into this place. I was saying that I don't want my children not to know their father's land and the likes. And I was still talking about empowering youth in Badagry. All of a sudden, I'm being told that the ballet. The ballet here happens to be the screen that see my own daddy here is actually from hello sir, I don't know what to say again. I'm so happy. See, these are your grandchildren, oh Baba. You can imagine.
Now, you're welcome.
Yes,
my name is Cornerstone. What's the name, sir?
Dayo.
Dayo.
Yes.
You're a Yoruba man. I got to know that through your name. Because we Africans, our name tells story, historic or directory. Somebody can locate you through your name. Can you tell me where I come from with that name, Cornerstone?
Cornerstone?
Yeah, you can't.
Outside the country.
It's not our name. But if I tell that I'm Kofi, you know the people that be
Ghana.
Ghana, or Togolese.
Yeah.
You see, or some part of Benin. That is how powerful our name is. You see, slaves have no name. Slaves bear their masters. And the first thing, by taking away the identity of those African Americans, those are the first away their father wears. If their children didn't come down to the museum, the way I'm taking, you see them dropping tears. Why did they drop tears? Because they know that they were Africans. But where do they really come from? Had it been that they retained their forefathers' name, it would have been easier for them to repatriate to their father's land through their names, because our name have a story or tell story or directory. Now, the man that owned the compound to this cenotaph, he was captured when he was at the age of 6 at Jogorile by Dahomey, slave raiders. The Republic of Dahomey was changed to Benin in 1975, maybe behind Cotonou or Ajashe, formerly called Republic of Dahomey. And the first master that owns him as a slave is named Abbas, who later resold him to a white man called William that took him to Brazil. William taught him how to read and write, but later freed him. It was the William that built the compound in the 1840s. In 1895, he became the Seriki Musulumi of Badagry because slaves used to bear their master's name. That's the reason he now chose to put his second and the title that he had. His own birth name, Ifaremileku, disappeared because they have no name. And the reason we call the compound Brazilian Barracoon, most of the slave taken for the compound were taken to Brazil and they were Yoruba origin, and it goes along with their culture and tradition. Like in Brazil, they worship God as Yemeja, they call it Lemeja, Eshu, they call it Ezu. Yalakara, they call it Akaraje. That's why they are Yoruba that have been moved from this command to Brazil. And Barracoon means slave cell, dungeon, or store where the slave were being stored in those days. And this compound that we are right now, we have total number of 40 rooms and 40 slaves in each of the rooms. But the government made with the family of this man that we are still living here today, they should take 2 cells that will be privileged to see. But before we go in, let's quickly turn And this were from in exchange for the slave when they arrived Africa. When the European came, they refused accepting the kind of currency that found are using, like tobacco, Manila, yellow salt, and cowrie shell. They said prefer doing trade and trade by barter. The European give one umbrella, give them 40 human beings as a slave. And we see how the surviving umbrella I'm going to show you. A bottle of whiskey go for 10 human beings as a slave. The long cannot go 100, the short one 40 slaves. European will give you a ding gun, you give them 40 human beings. And what do we do with the ding gun and the cannon? We use it to fight ourselves. So to get more slaves to settle the European, we are the ones that sold ourselves into slavery. A stramibo, we call it break open in the housing. European will give you one place, you give them 10 human beings as a slave. Mirror and bead, there's what we call bargain power. You can say 2, I can say 3, depends how you could bargain and negotiate with for beads and mirror. And when he became the Seriki Muslim Badagry, European gave him this as a gift, while the Ketutu was given to him, while the Bradis was given to him by the Brazilian as a gift during his coronation date as Seriki Muslim Badagry. Now, out of the 40 rooms, the rest 38 rooms have been occupied by the family of this man that were still living in the compound today. Now, let's see the 2 that been commissioned.
The slave dug this well in 1847, and as you can see, it's still functional.
Yeah, we call that place dark room. We are still going there. So, if the European come down to have a slave or to buy slave here, out of the 40 in there, they'll bring out one of the slaves. The way I'm standing, they'll look into the eyes, they'll check the identification of the slave, they heal the slave in stomach. They will examine if he or she is fit because they are going to war where they're taking them to. Any slave above 35 or sick, they call them Macron. They don't want such a slave. They want a very healthy slave, a young child that could work. And this is the picture of the man. I'll tell the story outside. I told that he had education through Williams. We made a photocopy of his handwriting here, and this is him over here. This umbrella over here that the slave boy was carrying on the head of him, this is the surviving umbrella. And this umbrella is so heavy. So the reason that it's just a man costly have to carry it on the head of the ship. If it mistakenly drop from the hand of the slave to the head of the master, they will be headed in because slaves were property and they believe they can do anything to let the property. It was made of wood, bronze, silk, and cane. Let me show the cane. You can see the cane. Wow. You can see that's what they used to make it. And it's so heavy. This is a 40 human being we are seeing. So this one is called covering yoke. They use this to join 2 slaves together. They put this at the ankle of the first slave, then the ankle of the second slave. They will now lock with their padlock. And because this was made of metal, they used to put wounds around their ankles. Okay, because they were slaves the next day, they're still going to put this thing called waist chain. We don't have the record or the age of this chain, but it's called waist chain. Any slave that is stubborn, they used to tie it around the waist. So after some time, it will become the slave. Now, as they look at this guy in the pictures here, as you can see, that shows that that guy in the middle is a stubborn slave. Now, quickly, like this one is called iron drilling bit. What's your name, my sister? Mercy. Like now, if I'm Mercy slave, my name should be Mercy. They put it in the fire, put that Mercy on my chest or at my back. We call it branding. Because slaves store here were owned by different owners. For identification, we have to brand the slave with red hot iron. Or sometimes, they also use it to perforate, to pierce the upper and lower lip of the slave and apply padlock because they were fed only once in a day. The Europeans don't want any means of communication so that they will not revolt. Or if they eat, they will be healthy to revolt. So they don't want anything. That's why they have to guard. Or they use that thing called iron muzzle to cover or to guard their mouth. Now, look at this chain over here. This chain here and the one over the wall there were used to kill the slave. That's what they call lynch. I'll tell you how they used to link the slave with this iron and the one over the wall there. These two here used to be the battle of chariots or carts. That thing was normally full, owned by this man called Seriki Williams Abbas. Now quickly, we are about going inside the dark room and see what we have in that bed. You have to wash your head while coming. You have to bend down. Let's see what we have here. You're welcome. That's what we saw up there. That will provide them ventilation. Imagine 40 able human beings in here and they will still close this door. This is where the wee and poo. Imagine the odor, the heat, and imagine how many human beings because they will have died there. That's the reason when people close their bed, you are not here to catch one, but just to feel the pain the people of the past have felt. Now, look at that triangular shape of window. That will provide them ventilation and 40 able human because they will be here for 3 to 4 months awaiting the slave ship. They're going to be 9 by 9 inside. And then the up is not the bamboo there. The ceiling is not bamboo. If it's a bamboo, it's very easy for them to escape. They use the clay as thick like this, like a deck when you did a decking on top. So there's no way they will be able to escape. And that small window will give them the ventilation. Imagine the odor, the heat, mosquito bite, and imagine how many human beings got slaves.
And this is where they defecate.
Yeah, everything.
And urinate.
This here. So imagine the odor, the heat. I imagine how many of them will have died here. That is the reason why when people come to us, we are not here to catch from, but just to feel the pain the people of the past have felt. And each of these ceramic, holding this ceramic, will go for 10 human beings. It doesn't matter the size. Once the Europeans give you one of these, you give them 10, that's a 50 human being you are seeing there. Now, over here, these are the gifts given to the man by Brazilian friends when he became the Seriki Muslimi. This one was given to him by the Europeans, the Ketu, and then the Bradis was given to him by the Brazilians. And these are some of the currencies we see in Africa, the cowrie. And if you look closely at the body of that bottle, you see 1873, big customized on the body. That bottle, that's 10 human beings standing so. Now, that one object, we call it record. They call it gramophone. They used them to wine in those days, but today we use DVD and CD. Now, right here, these 3 pots were originally made from Yoruba land. The man that owned the company, because he was a Muslim, if you want to do his prayer, this is where they used to keep his for ablution, soup, and his drinking hot. Now, we are going out again to see the second set. You have to bend your head. This is the second cell. So what we are doing here, we are just showcasing this clothing on this local mannequin or a dummy. So this clothes is called regalia. It's over 200 years of age.
Wow.
Owned by Seriki Williams. If you notice, most of the picture of this man I'll be showing you, you can see that the same regalia that he puts on. Now, quickly, this is the movement to the point of no return, which is across the water. We call it single file to the point of no return. Now, over here, now this picture tells a lot of story. Look at this man. These are the slave raider. They wanted to capture as a slave. The man got knife and stabbed himself to death. He said, instead of me to be a slave, I'd rather die. Similar thing happened. There's an island in Georgia called St. Simon Island in a creek called Dover Creek. Most of the Igbo slaves taken from Calabar and Bonipo were taken to Georgia and said they wanted to repatriate back home, that they can't be slaves in another manner. They kill their master, they walk into their plantation and got themselves drowned. And up to they call the place Igbo Landing. That's out there. A lot of slaves say they can't be a slave. They rather die. The same thing happens to the old man. And if they escape, these are called killer's dogs to trade. Anyone away and any slave that refuse accepting the master's will, they have to tie on a stake and struck along the line. Somebody will be beaten to death. Sir, if you have watched the film called The Root by Alessali Kunta Kinte, the guy African name was Kunta Kinte. They want to give him Toby. Say, no, I'm not Toby. I'm Kunta Kinte. And he started describing where he come from. They say, you must. They plug in. When he realized that these people wanted to kill him, he accepted the name Son Al. And it was either his 7 or 8 generations of Alessali. They traced their route for United America down to Senegambia, and they made that beautiful thing called. So that's why when people can tell them, please, let's give our children our name. There's nothing wrong with our name. With their name, if the only thing they could remember is that name, if they got lost in the heart of the Lord, that name will always bring them back home. Yoruba's called Etu, owned by Seriki Aba. It's over 200 years as well.
Wow.
You can see it.
Wow. Over 200 years.
Over 200 years.
And it's still like this.
Yes. You can see. And these pox here, these are some of the ancient pox where Seriki Aba, the man, used to keep most of his documents.
Portmanteau.
Yeah, Portmanteau. Yeah, we didn't know how many slaves they use in a chain for this common place. So this is another room. Now, these are some of the olden days. These are some of the olden days iron corrugated sheets they use for the roofing. You can see that it's different. This is what we produce now. You can see the difference. You get 15 of that light on from this, and up today, in some part of the building, we still have these things on top of the building. Now, from here, these were some of the children of Seriki Abbas, and this chair used to be his relaxation chair to show that how wealthy he was in the trade. Now, this is another bad picture here. We call this thing gallows, G-A-W-L-O-W. The white man said lynching. If they wanted to kill the slave, that chain that I showed you the first slaves in the show glass and the one over the wall, they would start using the ribs of the man they went to and off, they hung them on gallows. And they normally mold this in the plantation where other slaves busy working. While they are busy working, their brother and sister are seeing them dying. They're just trying to instilling fear into others, like, if you fuck up, this will happen to you. And as you see them, they won't last for a day till they're dead. Especially the men, because the chain will be eating their ribs and blood will be dropping, till it's dead. And then the women, all the blood here will just come down to the thighs, it will be very heavy, and she will be crying just to put fear into other slaves. And this picture states because the slaves could not condone, they can't take it anymore. And the one I really remember happened in around 1791, when the slaves in Dominican Republic were led by a man called Toussaint Louverture. They killed all the whites in Haiti. They got their independence. Later, the French came back to them that they should pay damages for killing their people, and they forced them to borrow money from their banks. And some say the reason why the Haitians were supported because of the reparation being paid to the French colony. And for me, I used to tell you that what the hell African leaders were ready, because I believe that we are
they should be the one paying us repatriation.
You understand? So I don't know the kind of leaders we have in Africa. Then there's some groups called abolitionists, Christian, or humanitarian. It was those groups who I say, no, these black people, if somebody says you are a subhuman, they say we have no soul, they were an face. They like, these people, they are human beings like us. They don't live on top of a tree. They are not monkeys. They are not apes. We must put stop to the trade. The British that started the trade, they had no choice. When they put stop to the trade, the slave here were tribulating for freedom. And I tell people that there's nothing good as used to be a free man. And for another 40 that will be here, I'm waiting to stay for 3 to 4 months. Now, let's quickly go outside and see the last place in the compound. Here used to be Seriki Abbas Court. And most of the Obas, Yoruba Oba, they used to have their meeting here. And that chamber here serves as his office. Okay. And all these compounds, all these rooms that you see today, they are all slave cells.
Wow.
And we do the counting, you count 40 rooms and 40 slaves in each of the rooms. That's a minimum of 1,600 slaves we have been taken out of this compound across to the point of no return. Now let's see where Seriki.
So imagine having 40 slaves in each of these rooms. Yeah. And they have 40 rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's 1,600 human beings, Africans.
Or more than that.
Or more than that, taken out.
Now, Seriki Abbas died 11 June 1919, and this is where he was buried when he died. And over there, that's the remnant, the building where he lives. And he had 128 wives and 144 children. And that's the tomb of the latter than 144 that he had. His name is Sakaja Williams Abba. He was born in 1987. Now, the slavery began by the Portuguese in the 16th century, precisely 1526, and it ended in Africa 1870. That will give you 400 years in slavery. And the question I used to ask people that 400 years in slavery, we Africans, are we really moving with the world? Now, imagine, most of the slaves move from this compound, they cross to that island. Once you get to that, you're still going to walk on the same route that slaves walk for many years. So when you go to the interval, you'll be seeing a well water. Government call it slave attenuation water. Once they consume the water, we are told that they will lose their memory. But it's not for like for 3 to 4 months. By then they will have gotten to Europe. Who dug the well? The well was dug by the African ship. Why? We call the slave ship cargo ship. And the cargo ship will take like 600, 700, depending the size. So most of the time, while taking the slave away, if the slave mistakenly spotted the line, it aggravated them, they'll fight, they kill all the crew, they add the sailor to sail back to any available. I think that's what happened in Haiti, Guadeloupe, and some part of the Caribbean. So the African ships now say, what can you do so that the slave will be less aggressive? That's why they have to do that slave attenuation well. Once they give them, they'll calm them down till 3 to 4 months, by then they will have stayed down to Europe.
Now the issue is they have the juju to make them forget.
Yeah.
But they do not have the juju to make the white men.
That's to tell you that we sold ourselves into slavery.
Wow.
So they will now move down to the Ark of the Departure, where they will, you see it, where they will pass under before they will say bye-bye to Africa.
To enjoy Badagry, you need to have a complete feel of the water experience in Badagry. So come over to Badagry, experience nature, experience peace, I'm trying to safeguard someone because she's waterphobic. Oh yeah, Fortune. Whoa! So now the journey starts as we go to the point of no return. Calm down. You can see that I'm not talking. I'm trying not to show that I'm scared. Yeah. You're having fun, Abby? So you guys should bring your children, bring your family to Badagry, and let's improve as in, let's talk about our place, let's talk about our motherland, let's talk about the history of this country so that others will not be telling us fabricated history. Oh yeah.
Hey, go. Hey,
Oh yeah, you go. Imam Dani. You said bloody chai. Hey. Hey. Wow, this is seriously a wonderful experience, but I'm also scared. My eyes is. And see, this is the slave route. This is the part where the slaves are taken through. Once they move out of the lagoon, this is how they take them all the way down. They will form a single file and they walk in all the way straight down, leading to where we have the Atlantic Ocean. So just follow me. The funny thing is that because they were taking our young, capable, agile men out of the continent of Africa en route Badagry port here, they discovered that our youth, our strong men that were being taken out were constituting a huge resistance to the crew on the IC, thereby sometimes overpowering the sailors and getting their freedom. So our own fellow black men, in fact, the chiefs, decided to apply what we call voodoo to this water, in which once they drink from this well, according to history, once they drink from this well, they tend to forget about themselves. They lose consciousness about their self-awareness, and they seem to follow the white men like zombies. After drinking the water of what I call the water of forgetfulness, they continue the journey down to the what? To the ship that is waiting for them, already brought in by their captors. Okay, now we are almost at the point where it's referred to as the point of no return. The history of this place is such that it's highly pathetic, and it shows you one of the deceptions at which the black men, Africans, were deceived to begin to think less of themselves. Why am I saying that? Because the slaves that were captured from the hinterland and brought here, as they were filing up to go right into the ship, what you have at the back here is a representation of the ship. And when the slaves that have never been across the lagoon, when they get here to see the Atlantic Ocean, they were carrying a rumor. They were made to believe that the white men are so powerful that they were feeding their gods that is in the water with the lives of black men. So they gave up any kind of hope of ever returning. So they are feeding them to the gods of the whites that is located in the water. Little did they know that what they were seeing, just like what we are seeing behind us here, is just a very mighty ship that is meant to take in the slave and carry them out of their father's land, out of Africa, out of the best place that anybody can be into a place that they will never have the mindset of ever returning. Just follow me. So this is how our fellow brothers and sisters were being deceived, because when they saw other slaves going upward into the ship and descending into the lower part of the ship, they thought that they were gone forever, that they were dead, that they've been eaten by the gods of the whites. This is a very painful moment for any African to remember. And that is why I want to say that if you really care to come over to Badagry, to listen and to see for yourself what actually transpired here, I don't take this place as a fun place. No. I take this place as a place that should be a reminder to us of what has happened before and how we should guard against it from happening ever again.
My name is Samanade Cecilia. I'm 15 years old. Iṣẹ́ tí mo fẹ́ràn sí ni tailor. But ìyá mi àti bàbá mi ti kú. But mo nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí láti kọ́ dáradára. Ọmọ ìlú Badagry ni mí. Èmi mo aṣọ tí mo ń wẹ̀. Tí bá rí ìrànlọ́wọ́ láti Setro Foundation, mo máa ṣe é sí dáadáa.
My name is Philip Okpemipo. I am 14 years old. I am from Badagry. I'm learning graphic designer. If I can have support from Setro Foundation, I will make more efforts. If I can get a laptop, I will make my work more easier and faster. Thank you, Setro Foundation. Goodbye.
Aisha. I'm 14 years old. Iṣẹ́ tí mo dẹ̀ like láti ọkàn mi ni tailor. Èmi náà mo ní pé kí wọ́n mú mi fún sí tailor. Mo dẹ̀ like aṣọ tí mo rán fúnra mi. Mo sì ti rán púpọ̀ tó dẹ̀ fi dá ilé náà ni mo rán fún aṣọ school mi. Mo fẹ́ kí Setro Foundation kó ràn mí ní ọwọ́ púpọ̀ tó dẹ̀ fún mi ní machine má lè fi better life.
Orúkọ mi ni Abbas Rasina láti ìlú Badagry, ọmọ ọdún 24 years. Tailoring ni aṣọ tí mo rán kí Setro Foundation kó ràn mí lọ́wọ́ nípa iṣẹ́ tí mo kọ́. Machine.
My name is Dada Sarah. I am 14 years old. I do this all by myself. So I want Setro Foundation to help me so that I can keep it up with my fashion designer. So I want help. I need mesh.
Okay, apart from just coming around the city of Badagry, we are so happy to have met with these 4 outstanding fashion designers. And one thing is common about them is that 4 of them are in need of support from Setro Foundation in terms of machine, isn't it?
Yes.
Should be machine lefe.
Yes.
But as we are speaking right now, we are going to pick the first person we are going to send machine to. We'll be sending it to them one after the other. And the first person we are going to pick, after one after the other, Lamashi. The first person we are going to pick is based on the fact that this little girl lost both mother and father. And as such, Auntie, you are going to be the first person we are sending your machine. We are not even sending it. You have to go to the market and go with somebody that has a camera phone. So when you call, just like we usually do in this foundation, to make sure that they actually end up buying what we want them to buy. So she's going to make a call at the market. We'll confirm the payment to the seller of the machine. So by next week or so, you are getting your machine. So the others, one after the other, will be sending in their machine to them. They will be buying your machine.